So welcome back to my 30-day challenge, and now we are discussing week 2. What has gone on over the past week? Right now I have started this 30-day challenge essentially trying to interpret my dreams. And in this challenge I essentially want to learn more about what dreams mean, right? And the understanding of dreams, and then trying to record those dreams, right? And essentially figure out what my dreams, my subconscious is essentially trying to tell me, or perhaps try to actually solve a particular problem that I am trying to solve. Now, my name is Marcus. This is Discover Ignite, where we discover possibilities and ignite change. And if you haven't done so already, consider subscribing if you're looking for content to essentially help you grow in life and become a stronger, better version of yourself. Now, as far as this 30-day challenge, right, I have gone on my second week, much like my first week, and I explained this in my last video. It's a learning process, right? When you do these challenges, it's all about learning and trying to get better at whatever it is you're trying to do. And for myself, this has really been a tough challenge. Now, trying to interpret my dreams, it's been hard because I've noticed that over the past week, right, I haven't had a lot of dreams. I recalled a couple dreams, but it's more going into it, right? That's one of the biggest things I've found doing this challenge, is that you have to really prep your mind before you fall asleep. And there have been some nights, I'm not going to lie, where I've tried to prep, but I didn't do as much prep, right? I think you got to really, last moments before you actually drift off to sleep, you really got to concentrate on whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? You're trying to remember. So you say, okay, I want to remember my dream. I want to remember my dream. And essentially, I found that by doing this, I can turn around and remember my dream. And again, the biggest thing is when you wake up, is to actually record that right off the bat, right? Because as soon as you wake up, you essentially, turn on that one part of your brain that, the memory kicks in. So it'll essentially wipe out whatever you've been, dreaming of. And this is why a lot of times we can't remember what we dreamt about, because that part of our brain kicks in once we, become essentially conscious again, right? And so ultimately, this past week has really been rough, right? I ain't gonna lie, it's been rough to try to, record my dreams. Now, I did remember some dreams and I did record them, but again, they are becoming more vivid, right? I have noticed, in coming essentially from a place to where I wasn't dreaming at all, right? I wasn't hardly dreaming at all, but I am actually starting to recall my dreams and becoming more vivid. Now, I haven't tried to actually do, whatever I want, right? Realize that I am dreaming, right? I think at some point, if you continue doing this process, you realize that you are in a dream. And again, I did mention this before. When I was a young kid, I used to do this experiment on myself, and I was actually able to essentially control my dream, right? I remember running essentially away from Freddy Krueger or Jason or something like that, right? Now, I'm an 80s kid, so that's where the reference is coming from. And essentially, I was running away, right? Like, I used to have this nightmare, and then I remember one day just telling myself, why am I running away? It's just a dream. And so I remember the next time I had a dream where I was being chased, I stopped, I turned around, and I actually walked towards, whatever was chasing me, and to find out, like, it was nothing bad, like nothing happened, right? Like I started realizing I could control my dreams, and then I started just doing whatever I wanted to. If I wanted to fly, I would fly, and that's essentially what I'm trying to do in this 30-day challenge right now. How is this really going to help me, right? Well, ultimately, I've been curious, and that's what I've been doing. That's why I started this challenge, is because I enjoy following things that I'm curious about, right? Maybe it leads somewhere, maybe it doesn't, but essentially I was curious about interpreting dreams. So I started this challenge, and although this past week is really, I haven't had a lot of dreams, I do gotta correct myself better and make sure that I'm really thinking about that. So I do have affirmations, again, before I go to sleep at night, so maybe I need to bump that up a little bit and then do those earlier, maybe 30 minutes earlier, and then really concentrate on that last 20 minutes, right? Just focusing on, trying to recall my dreams and understanding, right? I'm actually reading this book as well about dream interpretation. It's not just about dream interpretation. It goes into much other different realms and talks about, parallel universes and stuff like that. And me, typically, right, I slightly believe in that stuff. So I'm not saying that, I mean, none of it exists, right? A lot of people out there are gonna be like, you know what, this is absurd, why would you even think anything like this happens? But, you know, there's a lot of things, there's a lot of gray area out there that we can't explain, right? Not even science can explain. And until science actually proves a lot of stuff, a lot of people just don't go with it, right? They assume that it's the way it is, right? We all assume the earth was flat at some point, and some people still do, but nonetheless, I mean, so it just got me into this whole thought process about dreams, and reading this book, it talks about dreams, right? It talks about how, you know, time, it goes into different time and how time affects, you know, we all essentially live on the same timeline, right? You live in the past and the future, but you're essentially only focused on the present, even though you don't realize that you are, and that's the time frame you're in. And the book, it gets really crazy, but it does talk about dreams, right? It talks about how dreams essentially like jump you to different points of time in your life, and it has essentially different scenarios in which, you know, people are recalling, right? They might have a vivid dream and then come to find out something might happen. I know that may not make a lot of sense. This book is really interesting, but nonetheless, I'm gonna do a book review on this book. But just interpreting my dreams, right? Getting back to the whole reason why I'm doing this 30-day challenge. You know, I've been trying to, again, record that, right? And see what benefits you can get out of it. Yeah, if you can actually get and control your dreams, yeah, it could be adventurous, it could be exciting, right? You could look forward to going to bed. And I think one of the biggest things I've been doing as well is I've been working late and getting up early, so my sleep has been cut, right? I've been a little sleep deprived, so I think that really matters, right? Because before I had explained is that, you know, that 4.5 hour mark is when you really start dreaming, and then 2 hours after that point you start getting more lucid dreams, right? And so that's why this particular situation I'm in, I think, has been suffering a little bit because I've been trying to do this 30-day challenge and record it, and then there's some days where, I know, I'll wake up, I feel like I wake up like 4.5 hours in, and I try to recall, you know, I was like, I know I dreamt about something, but what was it? And I can't remember. And then I'll go back to sleep, and then I feel like, man, and then you start really getting that lucid, right? You really start getting very vivid images, and to the point to where it seems real, right? It seems like reality. It's hard for you to differentiate between the two, and that's what's really intriguing, right? And trying to find a way in which it could benefit you. That's, again, ultimately why I started. Again, if I got another, 2 weeks, if it works, it works, right? But this is why I do these 30-day challenges. This is why I challenge you to do 30-day challenges, right? And follow that curiosity to see where it leads. Maybe it's something positive in your life, maybe it's not something positive, but ultimately you won't know until you try it, right? Do a 30-day challenge and see if that's something you really want to do. And a lot of times, again, myself, getting through that first, 2 or 3 weeks is really hard, because you're trying to change your routine, right? So you're trying to learn something new, and it's hard to essentially grasp it, and it takes a little while. And like many things I've talked about on this channel, getting meditation, like that stuff, it took a while before you start seeing results and seeing the benefits of these things. And so ultimately that's what I'm trying to do. 30 days, we'll see what's happening. Again, so far I haven't been dreaming a lot. I have been dreaming probably this past week 2 or 3 different times I recalled my dream. And again, it was very vivid. I felt like I was right there. It was hard to differentiate if I was sleeping or not, right? And it's when you start realizing that you are sleeping, that you can alter, this dream state, and that's when it really starts to get interesting on what you can do and what you can't do, right? And realizing that, hey, I'm sleeping, what can I do? And you can build all these different things, and it's really intriguing, right? And so nonetheless, and then reading that book, it really gets you thinking about, past and present and future and all that being mixed in, and essentially just trying to interpret what it all comes down to. And so ultimately, that's where we're at, week number 2 in the books. And so I will actually continue going on another 2 more weeks and see what happens, right? And really focus this week on trying to recall more dreams. That's ultimately what I want to do. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like button on the way out. Till next time, I will see you guys later.